Welcome. Hi, I'm Diana at Dollars with Diana. And today we have a special guest, and I'm so excited to introduce you to the quantum DNA energy miracle worker, Shannon Pardini. And I've been working with her for quite a few months now, and I have seen a shift in my vibration. And we're before you click off, you're like, whoa, are you going to start talking about vibrations and all this other stuff? But I guarantee you're going to want to stay in and you don't want to miss it because we are going to help you break through your limitations by the end of this episode. So, welcome, Shannon.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And yeah, no, it's been amazing watching your transformation around belief systems with money and really getting your body into a vibrational flow and inspired at the same time as to what you're putting your interest towards. And so it's really shining around the financial sector for you. So again, I'm proud of what you're creating here and helping others in many ways.
On that train of thought of helping others, our conversation today is about helping other traders, stock traders, crypto traders, investors break through any limitations that they might have and I might have. So, just to share with you briefly, I was part of a crypto scam last year, and it involved, like, at that time, $69,000 of all of my Bitcoin and Ethereum and USDT, etc. So I I feel so ashamed because I fell into it. When it happened to other people, I was like, well, you didn't do your due diligence, and like maybe you didn't, whatever. I had excuses why it could happen to someone else, but it couldn't happen to me. And I did research on the company. It was in Miami. It was supposed to be insured. It was, referred to by other people. It had Trustpilot reviews, right? And so I thought, well, of course, this is a legit company. And it ended up not being, and I still haven't had my Bitcoin, Ethereum, USDT returned to me. So at that time it was worth $69,000 and today it's worth a whole lot more because at that time Bitcoin was like about 19, 20,000 and now it's over 100. So I know other people are struggling with being part of crypto scams. So we're going to start into that and later on lead into maybe like losing stock performance, like being in the red and like working throughout the whole year in trading and then one bad trade and it wipes out your account. So we're going to lead into that. But first, with crypto trading, and we know it's like the wild, wild west with crypto, right? Like scam, like everything you think about crypto, it's like on the other side of that, it's like everybody knows it's like full of like scammers. So let's talk a little bit about the vibration of that and your insights about being scammed with crypto.
So just kind of stepping back, I think with scams, each of us is different as to what consciously we're holding vibrationally. And so with the scam itself or being manipulated or, pushing into these commitments with money, I think there's a part of us where we can always tap in that feels a little unsettled, ungrounded, not creating the perfect foundation to make choice around the situation. So let's just go into your situation specifically with the scam itself. When you were doing all the research, did you feel like it was a sound choice, or was there hesitance with what you were committing to, like realistically?
Right. And as Shannon guides me through this, I want you to relate it to yourself. So if she's asking me this question, I want you to answer it on your own. So because she's working through me to get to you, if that makes sense. Like she's like this process is for all of us, everyone watching. I just wanted to give you that insight. So for me, I was just so eager. I was like, yes, I finally found it. I've been looking for years for like a bot trader and I couldn't find the right bot trading. I think that's the future. I think AI and bot is going to be the traders and replace me. Why would humans need to trade when bots could do it so much better and scan the entire, NASDAQ and within a few seconds. So I thought, finally, I found a crypto company that can invest for me, can do it better than me. And I've been investing carefully since 2017. So 6 years of carefully investing into Bitcoin, into Ethereum, into Litecoin, into, a few other altcoins here and there. And I was so careful the entire time. And it still happened to me. I was just like, I'm laughing now because it's sort of like I can't believe it. Like, how did this happen? But I was devastated. I was so ashamed. I couldn't even tell anybody for a long time because, I have a master's degree in STEM. I'm like super intelligent. Like you think that you could bypass everything and none of that matters. So
Mm.
my state of mind was just eagerness. Like, yes, I discovered something that's going to lift off and create generational wealth and build a legacy, and I could start a nonprofit, and I have all these grand ideas of how to spend that money. And no, I didn't feel anything negative at that time regarding crypto or anything. Like I feel like I didn't have any fear-based, like, oh, I hope I don't get scammed. Like I never really thought of that. I knew it was around, but I never thought it could happen to me.
Right. And so, as we're hearing Diana talk, you can hear that some of her belief systems that she's speaking about around what had happened. So, when the incident actually occurred and it got real, Diana was feeling a lot of shame around it. There was a lot of different projections you were having around identity of, why is this happening to me? I'm very intelligent. Why would I let something like this, come into the picture and unfold for me? And so that's the thing is I'm a DNA specialist. I understand how people are co-creating their, let's just say, reality. And a lot of it has to do with looping behaviors and identification that we have from our intellect and ego. And so, again, with that said, when I was working with Diana to reverse engineer this got really deep into her belief systems as to why the scam actually got co-created. So let me take a back seat from that. When you're trading or when you're investing in the fiat system or the crypto system or real estate and so forth, you know the human physical vessel is really intelligent, and the physical body holds an intelligence that we haven't tapped into. Most people think that using the mind, intellect, and ego is the consciousness, but it's not. It's what's pulling in the limited behaviors and belief systems and looping systems that the body gets congested with. So, going back to the physical body, when we are looking to make investments, you really want to start paying attention to what feels sound, what feels in alignment with your values and your belief. I'm not talking about your limited beliefs. I'm not talking about like how Diana perceived, I'm so intelligent that this shouldn't happen to me. Again, there's a lot of trust that can come from the physical vessel's intelligence. And so when we're making choice, you really want, yes, we do our research, but you also want to get in alignment to feel, is this choice sound? And I think a lot of some of the best traders, they really spend time just clearing, getting into their body and making sure they're in a vibratory consciousness that really relates and matches to the investments that they're making. And if it doesn't feel sound in the moment, they step away, they let themselves recalibrate and realign. So again, going into making choice with anything, not just investments itself, but even with your personal habits and behavior, we really kind of have to step back and where are we making choice from? Are we making choice from something that feels good that you do want to co-create, or are you making choice from the mind, intellect, and ego, right? Meaning you're making choice from limited habits, limited behaviors, or identity of what you think you are. And so that's two completely different ways of using DNA, which is the software system of the physical body. But it also puts us in alignment with truly what our values are when you get to know how the physical body is expressing and wanting to make choice. And I think a lot of that, we've just never learned how to make choice in a pure way where the outcome can be absolutely exceptional. So going back to Diana and, kind of reverse engineering her belief systems with the basically what we went into is a belief system with manipulation, right? It's like a deeper manipulation. And so when I was trying to go through and kind of trace how an outcome like this would happen, because the body holds the score, the body holds different identities of what it thinks it is from the way we use our ego and mind. The body will hold conscious memory of other times we've been manipulated, scammed, or it holds memory when we don't feel real confident in what we're making choice in. But going back to reverse engineering with Diana, some of the process we did was very emotional and very deep. And so we were able to get to a place with the scam itself, with the manipulation, where we were able to see within Diana's life, even all the way to childhood, there was the same type of co-creation and vibration, right, Diana, that created a part of the timeline of why this scam would come into your life later on, right? Do you want to speak upon that and some of the stuff we were uncovering in the belief systems?
Yeah, because you know me, I'm a super private person who happens to be on YouTube. However, I had a horrible childhood and a lot of insecurity and unsafety happened growing up. And so there was a lot of things embedded in me that, would something like this, like being taken advantage of or manipulated, was embedded into my DNA. And when I hear you talking about, well, check in with your body before you do the trade, I wasn't. I wasn't checking in with my body before I picked that crypto finance company, and it's called Fusion Labs Finance, and they have other names, so just be wary and watch out. And I just wanted to, warn people. Um, so I didn't check in my body because I I'm a very logical person. I was like, why would I check into my feelings? And when stock traders trade, like even me, when I trade stock, I don't say, how do I feel about this stock? I'd never ask myself that still to this day. I just say, are the parameters correct? I check, I do back testing on the charts. It's very analytical, and so I just have the right setups. I'm like, okay, well, if the market conditions are, looking favorable, then I'm going to do this quick scalp trade, etc. I never say, wow, how do I feel about Tesla today? Yeah, I just don't. So hopefully you could guide us a little bit better. And also, a lot of people that are tuning in, when they hear things like vibration, if you could just break it down, is that just the feeling? I mean, just break it down like as if we've never heard that before and how we can apply that to us, like trading or even investing and protecting ourselves from being a victim again or taken advantage again in the future. Because now I'm so cautious about everything and I don't want to be that. I want to live in a state where, I feel like I'm protected, right? Like a divine protection over me. I don't want to be fearful that somebody's gonna, like scam me out of my investments. So because that happened, now I'm fearful. Before that happened, I didn't feel fearful, but it was embedded in my DNA from my awful childhood upbringing, if that makes sense.
And that's vibration, right? It's again there's a deeper limited belief in the childhood, right? Where let's just say that there's mistrust, period. Really, really deep internal mistrust. And The work that I do is very detailed and it's very logical and clear. And we're kind of just jumping right into it with this podcast. And so I'll do my best to explain something that it takes quite a bit of information to pass to the public to get how DNA works. But the vibration again is, there's a matrix system running through our body. And the way that I talk about this matrix system is its limited beliefs that cause emotions that will cause chemical reactions within the physical body, like anxiety, that from there, when you keep creating these types of frequencies or vibrations that the body keeps holding, it's going to create an outcome of what it's going to project in your environment. Or, for example, what Diana had with the crypto scam. And so her body was in a vibrational alignment. It was stuff that she still hadn't worked through, with this mistrust. And, Diana just articulated that she's never one that thinks about getting inside the vehicle and asking, is this, am I making this coherent choice to make this investment through my values? Does this feel really sound? Because the human vessel and the human in general, we are one of the most fantastic, intelligent species, but we've never learned how to use our bodies in the correct way. Instead, we're always using our ego, our mind, and our intellect, thinking that it's our consciousness. But as we're continuing this conversation, we reverse engineered a little bit of what Diana's belief system was, not going into the depths of it, but she was carrying that. The best way to describe it is she was carrying and compartmentalizing different beliefs and emotions, for many years that held this type of vibratory frequency of manipulation or the outcome of getting scammed. Right. And so, again, what we need to learn as we're moving forward, and I think at some time the conversation of DNA will be more resourceful, people will want to understand it. But what's happening here again is the DNA is the software system of the physical body. And going back to how Diana was holding information, her body was creating an environment that was going to have a similar outcome. And it did. It happened. And the beauty of the scam itself is Diana got to use that crypto scan and go deeper into what she needed to clean up emotionally, chemically, vibrationally. And so, what do I mean by vibration? Is our limited beliefs hold memory of vibration through vibration in the physical body. So the limited beliefs and the emotions and the chemical, I think every one of us knows, anxiety, knows when the cortisol is shooting to the moon, knows that, when we've had some of the deepest traumas, our body has stored that information, right? It's easy to get triggered by certain things. And sometimes we're so subconscious by what we get triggered in. But again, the physical body holds these old vibrational alignments. And if they're pretty dominant, it's going to create an outcome of our experience, right? For example, the crypto scam. So the story here right now, given that DNA is a very deep topic that I can go into, but learning how to use the body in the way that it was meant to be used through understanding frequency and how the body holds memory, right? And so when we're having these outcomes that are consistently feeling of discordance, right? Or we feel like we're being manipulated, or again, we don't feel like we have control over our own reality. It's not true. Again, when you learn how to use the intelligence within the vehicle itself and the DNA, which is your software system, when you start learning how to master and harness and understand what your body's been coding or how it's been holding vibrational alignment, whether it be through limitation or whether you're really tapped into these frequency of values that you can feel through the body's alignment, Again, that's where the next steps are. But to make it simple with trading, right? And accumulating money and wealth, well, we got to look at it. Money has a lot of belief systems, right? A lot of people are in different consciousness of what they truly feel around money and investment. And sometimes they have a good run with, what they are investing in. But depending on where that person is, how they've coded their body, what they've worked through in limited beliefs or what they have not, sometimes things go awry, right? It's where they can't keep it. They can't hold a steady field of consistently creating a steady stream. So again, there's a lot of things to be said here, but when we start mastering, what we're making choice in from the purest, connection with the body, always check in with yourself. What am I agreeing to here? Why am I making this choice? Do my values match this? Or is it because I'm just reading all this research, blah, 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 blah? Well, you can read all the research you want, but that's still coming from your ego, mind, intellect. You have to check in with yourself. Again, there's so much different consciousness within the planet and people in general of what they're holding in their belief systems and what they're holding in memory of the body's vehicle itself. And so when you want to make a pure choice, you really got to step in and just give yourself some time to ask, what am I agreeing to here? Why am I making this choice? How does my body feel? Because again, I will tell you that the intelligence of the human vessel is incredible. And so when we're making investments or any choice really, with personal life and so much more, you really want to get to a place where you feel vibrationally in alignment, where it really feels like a yes, a pure yes. A maybe is always going to be a no. Maybe is a no, right? And so you really just want to start connecting whole, whole body. We don't need to be making choice through the mind and the ego and the intellect. We need to be whole and really ask ourselves, why are we doing this? Does this feel sound?
Yeah, I really like that because, one example is I was trading and I'm still stuck in the red where I missed my exit. So I was scalp trading. I was supposed to be in and out. I don't like holding my stocks overnight. And one investment I was trading and I wanted more. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna, exit here. I'm not gonna sell because it's gonna go higher. Well, guess what? It's been weeks now that I've held on to the same, and it's in the red, and it has not recovered back to my initial purchase price, entry price. So if I would have tuned into my body and said, Diana, how do I feel right now? I would have said straight up, well, I'm feeling greedy and I want more. And I mean, at that point, Shannon, could you guide us? Like, okay, so I just identified I'm feeling greedy. Now what?
Well, what would you do? So you're at this point where you're staying in the red. You're not in vibrational alignment. So tell the audience what is your choice? You know what your belief systems are in this moment with this particular investment. And so if you have to make a choice today, what would you do, knowing how you truly feel about this?
Well, I can't sell because then I'm at like a little over about 65% loss. So now I'm just waiting for it to recover back to my original entry point so that I could sell it and just break even, like at this point. But maybe that's a bad strategy. Maybe it never recovers. So then I'm second guessing myself. Well, should I just sell it at a loss and, learn from my mistake, tune in with my body? But when we have that feeling of wanting more and trying to, ride the momentum of the stock and then you're like, oh, it's just gonna go higher and higher and sometimes and most of the time it doesn't. Um, yeah, that's what they always say. Oh, you should have a stop loss and all this other stuff. I was like, well, a scalp trader, you're in and out in a few minutes. You don't need a stop loss, right? But anyways, okay, so in that moment, identified I'm greedy. I know I don't feel good. My vibration is off. Maybe I shouldn't even be trading at all, but now I'm stuck in the red for weeks. So I'm tuning in my body and I'm like, okay, well, Diana, the logical thing is just to get rid of it, but we're not but you told me, just get out of your mind and go into your body.
Hmm.
So what if that's not clear? What if the body says, I don't know?
Then you just have to step away. If remember, a maybe is a no. So if you're not in any type of alignment or it feels confusing, you need to step away and go do something else. Right? It's we are the ones that are co-creating our reality. Nothing is co-creating. Nothing is outside of us. It is all from what we've programmed this body, and the belief system is what you're going to experience in your environment. And so, very simply, with what you said, it's not so much that it's greedy or anything. It's just that you're doing investments through the ego, mind, and intellect. You're doing it through emotions, right? And of course, everyone wants more, 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 right? But again, we have to kind of step back, and if you want to get really sleek at how you make choice, you have to ask yourself, what am I agreeing to here? Why am I making this next choice? And again, if you're totally confused, don't make the investment just yet. Really step back until the body is in a sound place, because you're going to have a whole different outcome. When we're making choice or we're making an investment and we're feeling all this emotion and chemical, then it's coming from deep rooted belief systems. It's coming from limited belief systems, right? Where then the body itself, because whatever's been programmed in the physical body is going to project out a trajectory or a timeline of what you experience. If you're having all this chemical and you're doing things that feel out of alignment, you're going to have some sort of fragmented experience. Yes, it could be positive, but it's not going to stay in a unified field. Right. It's not going to keep creating this beautiful pattern where it's going to keep going up and up and up. Because again, it's like, most people, when they're co-creating or they're investing and so forth, some have it dialed. Like I said, they know their values, they know why they're making this choice. I think it's for the people that are really successful out there, it is this vibrational alignment. They can feel it, they can taste it, they know exactly what they're putting forth, right? But for most people, they don't. They're making decisions through the emotion and chemical of their body. And yeah, uh we get connected, or we get addicted to the endorphins, right, of things going up and down. Look at the stock market and all that stuff. So our emotions and our ego gets highly volatile. But that's it is really easy when you want to have a great outcome here. Really step back. You're going to feel the alignment of what you're agreeing to and why you're making choice and why you're putting 100% of yourself around this investment, right? That's where you want to be. Like, if you're investing in something, why are you investing in it? Do you really like the company? Do you like, what they're sharing or what they're going to co-create and so forth? There's a lot of things that, you know, as our human species, where we need to get deeper back into the original system of really knowing our values. But to know what that means, like within the body, when we truly know who we are, not from the ego or the mind and intellect, but when we truly know who we are in a frequency that is authentic and pure and what lights us up, when you can connect to that vibrational frequency, which is inside you, to me, I call those scalar waves. It's a measurable frequency. But for you guys, when you're connected to such a pure essence of what is yes for you, trust that. Go with it. Still ask yourself, what am I agreeing to here? Why am I making this choice? Or do I want to do this now? If it's a maybe, it's a no. Take your time, because we're always shown. when you allow your body to be in this beautiful flow state that I'm actually talking about, when you're able to step back, and get the cue, which is going to come from your body, that is that yes, then yeah, go for it. Do what you are showing yourself. Your co-creation state is showing you. But if there's any type of discordance, you need to trust that. 100% need to trust that, because you're just going to have similar outcomes of what you've had before, especially in looping cycles, especially with money. Many people are stuck in the scarcity lack, but it has nothing to do with that. It goes so deeper into the belief system. That scarcity and lack can be fear of abandonment, or that scarcity and lack, maybe this person never has held the frequency of feeling abundant. And that can be for anyone. People who have a lot of wealth or, never experienced wealth, they can have this belief system where, the neural pathways got hooked into scarcity, depending on their beliefs, whether abundant or whether in scarcity. That might sound a little confusing right now. But again, the body keeps the score. It's when we've never held a pure field of what it truly means to be abundant, resourceful, nourished, sometimes it's hard for people to co-create because the neural pathways got stuck somewhere through trauma, right? Or it got stuck somewhere where it only knows, duality around what it thinks abundance is. And so then that person kind of gets stuck in loops with what they're creating in the scarcity mindset, but it also plays out in their everyday life.
And just for, I'm going to be linking Shannon's website down below and her newly launched book. So make sure to grab that from Amazon. And she has group sessions and events. So private sessions are absolutely a must with her. Um, I just wanted to, give a shout out, Shannon, before
Thank you.
I might forget to do that. However, tuning into our bodies and being stuck in the looping system, I think that is exactly why over 90% of traders fail and lose money. Is because maybe they've never really held on to that abundance, and we are stuck on the endorphins where, you get a win and you're like, yes, and then, a few days later, a few trades later, it's like you're at a loss. You're like, oh my gosh. So it's like this looping cycle of like winning, losing, winning, losing. And then at the end of it is like, was that all worth it? All that anxiety or, feelings of frustration, was all of that worth it? And I know what you mean about being in the right vibrational state because, I have this program where different traders come on every day, every trading day. And then when they're grumpy, they like I'm watching them, their stock it's just not good. Okay, they're not the stocks are not so, I mean, it's just whatever they're intending to do in that moment is not working out for them. And then they continue getting frustrated. I'm like, you're clearly not in the right state of mind to trade at the moment. Like you said, step away. And Shannon loves to lift weights and work out, and she's like, just get that lymphatic workout happening to get out of, your mind and into your body. So
Yeah,
step away.
that's great that you're bringing that up too. Like that does help with trading. Is again when we need to step away. Like money is a losing system. With money is we think that we have to have these massive energy exchange all the time, but in truth of it, when we're feeling most aligned, we're nourished and we're holding a very astounding energetic field. And so when the body's not expending all this energy around our chemicals, our endorphins, cortisol, and so forth, you can make sound choices. And so for those of you that are investing, if you really enjoy the process and it's fun, again, connect with your values, also know what are you making agreements to with some of these companies and so forth. but also, get out of your own way. Like when you need to step back, there's beautiful ways to get your body in flow state so you can clean up the channel to make decisions. And, mobility is good, yoga is good. Lifting weights is extremely amazing because it'll get this beautiful lactate state moving through the muscles, which it just brings more coherency. Gets you more grounded in your body. It allows you to make, calm, not, I don't want to use the word common sense, but it allows you to use the vessel to show you what you're going to create in next, whether that be choice or again, whether you stay back a little longer and just let yourself nourish. So you're not in this constant energy, expending energy, losing energy, blah, 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 because there's different ways to go about this where we can have more respect on where we're putting our time and energy towards money and crypto. And you know when you change the environment of what you're co-creating and how you're making choice, it's not only going to be around money, but you're going to change many things within your personal life. So everything that I'm expressing doesn't just go towards crypto and trading. But again, when you're fully start aligning with who you truly are authentically, and that really takes getting into these subtle frequencies and nourishing what we truly are, the outcome is going to be 100-fold for what you guys start to pour choice into.
All right, so I like the sound of that. So we're going to get into a vibrational state, just to reiterate what you're saying. We're going to get into a vibrational state, understand the company, and sometimes with crypto, really, it's just kind of like a pump and dump. Okay, like you buy it because you know other YouTubers are talking about it or whatever, or TikTokers or people on Twitter are pushing out whatever coin or project. So then you buy it and then you just sell it. It has no emotional attachment to like how good is this project or like for example, the meme coins. I mean, come on, they have no real world like asset. They don't have anything to do with anything applicable in reality, right? But like the Pepe coin or the Doge coin or Shiba Inu or whatever. There's so many coins out there that
Cortisol and endorphin coins.
well, yeah,
Yeah.
that's the way of putting it. So when we're picking things like when it comes to crypto, we know over 90% of all crypto projects are gonna go down to nothing after this bull run. And I'm
Well,
just I'm just
that's
curious
that's
about
assuming. So again, right there is using the ego mind intellect. We're the ones creating all this. And so, for me, when I invested in crypto very early on, I I chose companies that basically could articulate my values, right? And still to this day, I'm holding all of them. I'm not jumping on and making crazy trades, all the time. I really, when it comes to me investing, it's more just methodical. It's really coming to this place of, why am I agreeing to this company? What do I see? That really is, future forward. That's gonna be complete change maker because that's what crypto is. Crypto is giving us a whole new infrastructure, somewhat of transparency, maybe. But again, we're the ones that get to decide in how we want to choose to build out this infrastructure. Right. And so again, I think it would be great to create communities where you start talking about more of these thoughtful, resourceful crypto companies that are so well-rounded with what they're landscaping. I think there's so much like interesting companies out there that, really get how energy and frequency work. And I'm not just talking about like that. I'm talking about vibrational alignment with values and what they're creating, moving forward with very advanced technologies. So, I think, if anything that I want to see out there is I want to see discussions, like lengthy, detailed discussions on some of these companies that, what they've been creating behind the scenes for years and where the infrastructure is at and what it actually does.
But
right? And
can
then
we
that's where I
get,
want to make choice.
but that sounds great. But can we still participate in the pump and dumps knowing that we might get money out of that? I mean, or is it truly not in vibrational alignment because your intention is just to buy and sell with no like it doesn't I mean, okay, this is what I'm trying to ask. Is it okay to just take part of something you know that you're gonna flip right away? Like you buy it and then you sell it for profit. I mean, is that still okay, or are
It's
we
all the
just out of
same
alignment?
design. It's all the same design is, again, you always have to ask yourself, why am I making the choice here? And if this feels good to me, there's nothing wrong with pump and dump. But again, there's, you for a tremendous outcome, you want to be in alignment where it fully feels 100% like a yes, right? It's, again, these some of these coins, they're wild. Yeah, you're going to make a lot of money off them, or you may lose big. But regardless, it's when it comes to how we're making choice, we need to step up more into an authenticity of our resources, of what our values are, and why we're making this coherent choice. And that applies to that as well. If someone has major scarcity issues and they're addicted to the pump and dump, right? It's not going to go well at a certain point, right? But then there's another person who knows and flourishes, that they know themselves why they're creating value in picking that type of coin, and they're very financially like grounded and stable, and they continue that path, right? Where they're not having the same expression as someone who has all these limited beliefs, is like, I got to have that. I want to be a part of that, where it's all this chemical exchange. Then you have someone else who their body's not all filled with all this type of limitation and belief systems, where they'll have far more of a pure outcome with what they're experiencing. So again, consciousness is not just black and white. It's like when we're learning how to make choice with our everyday experience, we all have to kind of step back and, look at the patterns that we've been creating, since our childhood. Is there any limited beliefs there? Is there any type of discordance? Well, that stuff will play out with the choices we make. But again, every person is different what they're going to co-create consciously. And so I think it just applies with, again, really getting to know yourself and how you feel before you make choice around anything, right? And like I said, if something's a maybe and it feels a little off, you just have to step back. You got to get back into a state with your physical body where you feel grounded, and then you'll be shown like, yeah, that investment feels good. I'm going to go for that. It feels so much better. And then again, the pump and dumps, well, if you guys like that, that's fine. It's a very emotional, chemical type of investing, but I think some people do it well. But they do it well because they're beyond limited beliefs of scarcity and the energy exchange with money. I think there's more grounded within their body's vehicle of why they're choosing this and when to get out of it.
Let's talk a little bit about people who have been logical for a long time, maybe their whole lives, like I have. I had to literally shut down my emotions when I was a toddler because of the trauma that I went through to protect myself as a protective mechanism. And I felt safety in the thought process of just thinking things through instead of feeling things through. So let's talk about how maybe other traders, I know a lot of traders, they're all in their head. There's nothing emotional about, how they behave or act and portray themselves into the world. How does the yes feel? Like when you lost touch in your feelings of knowing because you lost touch in your body right? Like, how does that, like, remind us, like, how does that feel? And how do we reignite the feelings so that we can be sure?
Yeah, it takes time for people that have had a lot of trauma or have, consistently been using their ego and their belief system, right? The ego, mind, intellect, and the belief systems to lead them, where they, it's foreign to feel what the body is consistently showing us all the time. But the body's always talking. If the body's an emotion and chemical, it's always showing us that we're going outside of ourselves. It's always showing us that we're going into some type of programming that's already in the body of limitation. And so that's kind of a simple way of looking. If you're always in anxiety or, always needing the next fix or, if the body is shooting any type of chemical signal, it's trying to tell us, hey, come back, get into alignment. But again, a lot of us are too far gone with the addiction to chemical and, feeling suffering and anxiety and all that stuff. But the body's smart. It's like, again, it doesn't take long to transform and to get back into a coherent place. It's just that we have to move slower again and just, not take our emotions and the chemicals that the body is creating personally, but instead use it as guidance. And so anytime we're feeling out of alignment, or like I said, the body's in some type of chemical reaction, you want to just allow yourself to just get back inward and, the place that Diana's talking about, what does that really feel like? Well, to describe to people that have never felt grounded within their body or nourished within their body, what it feels like is, I know all of you have been in flow state, when you're running, there's a certain point where you're in that beautiful flow state or yoga or, whatever activity, even with walking, you'll get to this place where you're in a pure field. Another way that I like to tell people when they're first starting to learn how to use DNA is, you know, the chemical body is like when you're driving, right? When we're driving, we all get into this flow state, where you'll catch yourself just completely calm, relaxed, but then you'll kind of go into a meditative state and you're just in it. But say you go off the road and you start hitting the divider, right? To get back into that flow state that you were in. Well, that's how I explain the chemical body, the irrational chemical body. So when the body is always showing us that divider that we're bouncing on. So again, anxiety, depression, triggers, trauma, right? We can catch ourselves. And that's not, again, that's not the normal state of the physical body, but it's a tool to learn from. So anytime, we're feeling out of sorts, you want to get yourself back to a state of neutrality, and that takes patience. A lot of us, have belief systems where they don't feel safe in the body or they don't want to be in the body. They want to, use the mind and ego to take away from having the experience within this intelligence. So again, for people that have never felt grounded, nourished, or really intelligent in the body, right now is the neurofeedback to kind of shift over right now is just catching when the body's in any sort of chemical. The body's going to send all the signals, right? But that we don't have to get so attached to it. All that is programming. It's been programmed in the body for quite some time. So people that are used to their chemical cycles, but you just want to get back into a state that feels pure, that feels natural, that feels neutrality. And the best way I can equate that right now is flow state, but it's inward flow state. So again, when we're driving in our cars and we just feel that heightened, just calm, right? Where that just peaceful, that is the normal state of the human vehicle. It's just that we've programmed ourselves by all these attachments, at a very young age, of how the neural feedback got stuck in these safety zones of limited beliefs, which are causing that chemical reaction. Does that help answer your question a little bit?
Yeah, I think so. And I think all of us could relate at least one point in of our lives that we felt that neutrality, that flow state, and reconnect to that. Either do that activity again or use your imagination to go back into that moment. Um, yeah, I mean, I thank you for that just explanation. I did want other people to hear it from your point of view and your perspective. Now, you talked a little bit about limiting beliefs. How do we know if we have any?
Yeah. Well, every human has a lot, but limited beliefs. So the best way is limited beliefs. If you kind of look into your just kind of scanning from where you are now to childhood, and you're seeing a lot of the similar patterns, right? Of whether you're having a lot of discordance playing out in your environment, or you're not fully able to get to where you see yourself at as a co-creator. There's so many different limited beliefs that we get programmed with, and it's not just us co-creating it. The way that I look at the limited belief cycle, which I call the matrix that creates the physical body in a matrix system of looping behaviors. But I can trace it back to about 3 generations of the bloodline. And then from there, whether people believe it or not, but past life frequencies carry over too. This matrix that we're currently living in, the way we're using DNA, is just all looping systems of recycled information. And so limited beliefs, again, there's plenty of them. Like, give me a limited belief that we just worked through with the crypto, not feeling safe in the vehicle, right? We spent a lot of time, communicating today, on making pure choices, where a limited belief, really deeply, really ingrained, that I see in a lot of 3 generation patterns, is not feeling safe in the body's vehicle, where that discordance creates a lot of chronic disease, the same type of disease that's playing out in different family individuals. Another one that we looked at today was not trusting thyself, right? And then another one is manipulation. Those are all deep seated limited beliefs that a lot of us get programmed. Like, you know, we're on planet, we're all living the same type of matrix system. And there's only so many belief systems in the matrix system that's programming the third dimensional physical body. But it's a lot of the same stuff. And the stuff that I see with, I've been working with clients for years that have all types of, from depression to cancer to all different types of disease. And I've been able to help resolve a lot of their chemical body, where they can start bringing the physical body back into a regenerative process. But going back to the 3D matrix body, there's only so many limited belief systems. And then a lot of that is just feeling separate from our own intelligence within the body, or separate from source, where humans are addicted to suffering. I know no one likes to hear that, but we are, right? With but it again, it's just programming. It's not what we are. It's just when the body is used to the same type of vibratory frequency, it doesn't know how to hold a field that's higher within the body's anatomy. So when we're in these lower vibrational fields of like depression, anxiety, or feeling hopeless and so forth, all that is it's a frequency that got programmed in the body early on. But when someone can actually connect to that frequency, because the body just wants to be known, it wants to be heard, it doesn't want to be holding all these trauma imprints and frequencies. But when we can tap in and really understand the consciousness behind that frequency, even just knowing it and letting the frequency shake out of the body, um, a lot can shift for somebody. So there's so much to be said about what are limited beliefs, and there's plenty of them, like what are some limited beliefs around money? Not enough, right?
Right.
What
Or
else are
or
some limited?
they have like some special ability to be able to pick the right stocks or the right entries and exits or the right, whatever like options trading strategy. Like they like they have the special knowledge that I don't, and therefore they make more money than I do. It's like um
Well, what would you call that at a very simplistic, it's again, it's not trusting, the inner intelligence, right? Or it's a lack of confidence, or I'm trying to think at the heart what that would be. But, and I think everyone has a little bit of that, right? But a lot of people put themselves out there. Look at how many different crypto channels are out there, all expressing what they think they know, but the bigger picture is each and every one of us is a direct reflection of our consciousness, and that's what we're going to co-create at the end of the day. And so what's already been programmed inside us, if we want to start really accumulating wealth, then it's like, let's look at these limited patterns that we've been creating, through all this time, and let's go in and excavate and clean those up so we can get to a place where we're happy about our choices, right? We don't need someone else to tell us where we need to position ourselves. We'll know, because again, this body is like a quantum computer. It already knows what it is. And so when we all learn how to drive the intelligence within us, it's easy to make sound choice.
every time I talk with you, I get into this state where it's like more of a flow state with you, Shannon, because you're expressing something that is it's like reminding me of truth, right? And it's just that this allowance that is so relaxing when I hear you and speak to you. And then when you ask me a question, it's like, I don't know anymore because I'm just in this like state where I'm just like receiving and I'm like it's just an amazing feeling to be in your presence. I just want to share that with you. Okay, so this next section, I really hope that this has been beneficial to all of the watchers and listeners on this conversation about being in the right vibrational state to accumulate the wealth that we truly deserve. And we are all deserving of having everything that our heart desires, but it's only if you truly believe that. And that comes with limitations. So, as Shannon shared with us earlier, we all have limitations, several limitations. It's all energy, no matter what. So, uh, you know, this is not medical advice or financial advice or anything, but this is definitely going to help you. So our next transition is that Shannon's going to take us into a hypnotherapy. And if you would like to join us, and I'm guaranteeing you right now, it is going to transform you. Okay, that is my guarantee. Then hit that link down below, and I'll see you in a few minutes. If not, I hope you enjoyed this conversation. And I just want to thank Shannon so much for joining me today and being on this new channel that I just launched, Dollars with Diana, just sharing this financial journey of accumulating wealth together, $1 at a time. Shannon, did you want to say anything to our listeners and viewers before we transition into this one-on-one hypnotherapy that's going to just up level them and transform them and help them remove their limitations?
Sure. Yeah, no, it's again, each and every one of you holds a deep intelligence within the physical body, and it does take time to master. But the more that we can start connecting in with what we're agreeing to, especially around choice and what we're allowing our bodies to vibrationally align with, kind of just look at your life and, do the people around you make you feel good? Is the work that you're doing, does it light you up and inspire you? It's just getting a clear analysis on what we're co-creating, right? And there comes a time when enough's enough, where we want to step into the next level, and this physical body and the DNA hold that intelligence. And we were never taught how to use our software system the way that it was meant to be known, which is, again, the DNA and the physical body. But they're exceptionally intelligent. And so, again, yeah, if you want to step into more, you guys will know how to find me. And just know that each and every one of you, again, is extremely far, superior than any artificial intelligence, anything out there. Like the human vessel in the DNA holds so much to expand in with consciousness. So when the journey feels right for you, you will traverse it. All right. So I honor you all. And Diana, I appreciate this channel and bringing, just a beautiful aspect to crypto that there's so many ways that we can look at crypto, but, getting tapped into what belief systems we're kind of running as we're making investments, I think that's important. So thank you for bringing that forward.
Okay, thank you so much for tuning in. And if you're, I'll see you in a couple minutes. If not, please check out this video next.